Hello, my name is Harry Walsh, and this is my evaluation of of everything we've done so far. And I've decided to try and deconstruct the evaluation a bit and tackle each segment uh, individually. Let's just get started. So first segment, of course, would is the job roles. What everyone did during the course of the performance, because we didn't just do the performing, we also did the off stage work. So one of those was costume design, which, if I'm not mistaken, was fronted by Chloe, Monique, Saoirse, and Megan. And as it should entail, they were the ones who they were the ones who came up with all the costume designs. Well, all the costumes we had for each character, and therefore what we wore for them on stage, which but they were, so obviously you have to go through a wardrobe and pick everything, but it's a bit more than that, because they also had to make stuff that we didn't have. I'd say the best examples of that were for Ladybird, Spider, and Centipede, because with Ladybird they needed to make the Ladybird shell, which they did quite well at, I believe, because if it was they used a hula hoop and strapped I don't know what the material was behind it, and then I think some sort of hard paper, I believe, but they covered it in it and painted on it, which looked quite nice, to be honest. Also with Centipede, they used paper mache to create multiple legs for him, and then tied it onto the rest of his suit, so that he could also move. And then with Spider, they created four extra appendages to mimic spider legs for Megan, who played Spider. Yeah, so I think they did quite a good job, to be honest. I think costume design, I feel like, is slightly underrated, because it's very important. Because if we were to take them out of it, so if we didn't do costume design, we'd all be wearing black, and especially in a children's theatre, it would ruin it, as the kids would struggle to know who's who. It's without the bright colours and obviousness of each costume that differentiates each character from the next. I definitely think it would be much more difficult for children to know who's who. So yeah. So next one was the one I was most prevalent in, which was props department. And the reason I chose props was because, the reason I chose props was because before Nescott, I got an A level in graphic design. I also did it for GCSE as well. I am quite adept at prop making, as and I thought, and to be honest, I was pretty sure if I did costume or something, I would be more of a hindrance than anything else, and that's why I chose to do prop making. But for prop making, it was mainly me, Charity, Enrico, and Alanya. And to be honest, I have to give credit to Charity in props, because she really made she she stepped up. She was the backbone of the props department. I know for a fact that she had stayed hours behind. She stayed at school hours after we'd all left to continue working on props and stuff. And she just naturally became in charge of the props department. And we all sort of gravitated to her for her and checking for her approval on each singular project. I uh, I mainly when in for props I mainly focused on the shadow puppets. That was where I did most. I did the most work. And there was a vast variety of shadow puppets, but to list a few now, I'll list the ones that I made. The animals, the rhinoceros's head, as in shadow puppet. No, I didn't. The cars, but that's just to list a few. There's a lot more, like the chocolate factory, the peach, Mr. and Mrs. Trotter, and I could go on for like another 5 minutes naming individual shadow puppets, but that's not what I'm here for. I'm here to evaluate my performance and my classes. Yeah. So yeah. So in the department, Charity sort of gravitated as to being in charge, and me, Alanya, and Enrico sort of followed what she wanted us to do. But we didn't just do shadow puppets as well. We did lots of things like we made James's axe. We also repurposed Enrico's ship from the Tempest to be the captain's ship for James and the Giant Peach. We let Enrico head that one as he created it. So yeah. We also made the papier mache seagulls on fiberglass poles. Both to this. To be honest, I thought it was a really good thing. The fiberglass poles were quite useful because they had two bonuses to them. Because number one, that it meant we could hold them and make them fly, but also number two, that when James needed to catch all of the seagulls, they were already on string, which was quite a nice little thing. I appreciated it. Yeah. One thing I would say about is that I feel like when it came to the prop making, I feel like I was a bit lackluster, and I don't. I feel like after seeing Charity's devotion at the time, I definitely felt like I wasn't pulling my weight. But that's not to say I wasn't working hard, because that's something I definitely did. I wanted to make sure that every piece I made was perfect, and exactly what we needed. And to do that takes time and effort. But yeah, okay, so what we also had, and then also don't forget, we had stage managers, who were Anna and Fran, and their job was to oversee everyone else, make sure we all kept a steady pace, and were doing the right things, not going off on tangents, which there isn't many opportunities to. There weren't many opportunities to show that that's what they were doing, but there was one moment in particular where I had been instructed by Charity to create a peach stem out of paper mache. So I got to work on that. I was on that for 5 minutes, and then Anna showed up to make sure everything was running smoothly. Saw what I was doing and talked to Charity about it, and then informed her that we didn't need that, and so I stopped before I wasted too much time, which was which shows they were doing their job. Yes. Ooh, God. Oh, God. Okay. But yeah, I feel like you can't... there's not many moments for, like, to prove... I don't think there were many moments they had to prove that, apart from the... Oh, yeah, can you just do this? Could you do this for me? Great. Are you doing this? Great. Apart from those moments, there weren't really many moments available in the to prove themselves, but I thought I should mention that, as that's one of the few, and it's the one that happened to me. So I thought I should mention it because once, like I've said before, it proves they were doing their job correctly and well. Alright, and that's it for job roles. Oh no, except for set design as well, but there wasn't really much. There's not really much to that. So we'll go straight on to our rehearsal, evaluating the rehearsal process. So we ended up. So the amount of time we had to do this was 20. It was 24 hours, obviously, but stretched out over weeks. 6 weeks, I believe. 6 weeks process, accumulating in a 24-hour rehearsal time, which is not a lot of time. Oh God, is not a lot of time to set up a show, but we managed it, which is quite good. I know I did miss a few lessons, but I always try to get even when if I could make it to Nescott with a meltdown happening, I always try to. And I know it was probably a hint. Sometimes my autism is probably a hindrance to the class, but I try my best not to be, and try and make it more of an advantage than anything else. I know. I did actually end up near the beginning of the rehearsal process. I had a bit of a not an argument, a disagreement with Saoirse at the near the beginning, where I felt she wasn't taking in my opinion. For the subject in matter was trying to explain how it's so long ago. Hang on, trying to explain how extending the poles for the shadow puppets would make things more difficult, to make it more difficult to hold them steady, as during the process we were already starting to struggle holding them still, and I tried, but she was not listening to that, and that definitely made things hard, but and it felt like I wasn't being heard. But the next day, I decided to take her aside and explain to her what I was feeling, and we just talked. We took 5-10 minutes and just we talked, and we got and we sorted it all out, which was, I think, very mature of us, if that's not being egotistical. Because it's better to, because I believe that if you want a team to work, you can't keep things in. If you don't let the people who you're trying to work with know what you're feeling, then there's no way. Then you're going to end up blocking the show, and it's much better to get it out in the open anyway. So that's what I wanted to do there. Okay, but so I really thought I was really intrigued by the method Leanne put forward for us for James and the Giant Peach, which essentially just consisted of intense research beforehand, trying to get everything down to whether it be that random character from one page to working out the precise day, the story set and the precise location, which I thought was I really enjoyed it, because it meant that everyone in the class had the same idea in their head, which I think, especially for a performance, performance which is very with the grandeur of James and the Giant Peach, you kind of need that, because if we're all thinking of different things, we'll end up with a shit show, and that we don't want that. So going into such detail guarantees everyone's got the same mindset, everyone's got the same ideas in their head, and which I believe is the perfect foundation to create a performance on. And I would actually quite like it if we use this method from now on, because I think it's definitely better than methods we've done prior. But that's just my opinion. I also thought the idea of using just letting my mind the idea with the books, writing everything in the books, whether it be stuff we should jot down for that lesson, to a doodle you've come up with during the lesson, like just getting your mind onto the page, whether it be coherent to anyone else or not. And I think because I feel like that was just because it's sort of just one thing. The brain. The reason I really like this as well is because the brain has this function where if you when you write something down, if you want to remember something and you write it down, your brain finds it a lot easier to remember that. And by just jotting down anything and everything in each lesson meant that we were able to it made sure that we would remember the lesson itself, and especially with a shorter time as we had to get this performance ready, that's something you need. Yeah. One thing I would say we did poorly, and it's the big thing I think we sort of slacked on, was the rest of the Cloudmen. So me, Anna, Ollie, Chloe, Alanya, Charity, and Fran. Yeah, I think that was everyone. But because we came up with these brilliant lifts to do during the performance, but we didn't carve out any time to rehearse them. So, but when we went on tour, we ended up being underprepared on that front, and Chloe didn't feel safe doing the lifts, so we didn't do them during the tour, which was a bit of a bummer, because we did work quite hard on those, but we didn't carve out, we didn't practice them enough. which is something we should have done, and we should learn. I should try to learn from. But yeah, speaking of tour, next part of the evaluation, evaluating the actual performance, the tour itself, and without being too pedantic, I thought it went brilliantly, but all except for the third day, when we were in northeast London, when all the cards were against us, which was upsetting, but we powered through it, which was quite good. But that's day 3. That's like I said before, it was slightly annoying that we didn't do the lifts during the tour, which and I thought we did quite well during the tour, and even on day 3 where everything went to shit. The only problems we actually had on tour were just a few cues missing here and there, and to be honest, and if you're a good enough actor, the audience won't realize if you've missed a chunk, and I think we're all good enough actors now that that's the case, and I only know they're there because we've been rehearsing it for quite a while now, 6 weeks. So, and that's the only reason we noticed them, and I highly doubt the audience noticed them. The only other thing that springs to mind was on the first day when the peach sort of started sliding apart, but the actors on stage handled it very well, and props to them for that. Like, they handled the situation very well. Yeah. But yeah. I also wanted. The work. Talk. I've already talked a bit about the workshop, but I thought I should highlight some, some things that people did during our time. During the time we spent working on stuff for James and the Giant Peach, but not rehearsing or performing it. The workshop time, I wanted to sort of actually give praise, especially to Charity, because she was in. I'm pretty sure she spent about 2 hours or more, if not every day, every other day in the workshop, working on the props, and I think she should get some recommendations for that, because she really poured her heart and soul out in there. But also, but I had looking back on that time as well, when thinking about what Charity did, it made me think about what my time in the workshop, and I felt like I feel like I could have put a lot more in as well. But it made me also think, and this is something this term has helped me realise, that I think I don't put. Because I always want to put 100% into everything I do, but I think I feel like I struggle in doing it, and I need to, and I think if I want to be a better actor, I need to try and find a way to manage my time more efficiently throughout the course of a project or a term or anything. And if I can do that, I think that would help me move forward. Yeah. But yeah, I think but yeah, an overall summary. I think we did bloody great during this term. All of us, the entire class, we all worked our asses off, and we smashed it. That's not to say there weren't hiccups and there weren't problems, but there's always going to be those, and I don't know who said it, but I think it applies quite well to trying to make a performance. It's about life is not about how hard you can hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and get back up. No, and I think that works quite well for making a play, because no matter how many problems come your way, it's about getting past them that really makes a good show. No matter, and to be honest, the tour was the perfect way to get to sort of help me understand that, because just the tour itself is a kind of problem. You've got a different venue each day, and a different audience, who's a different age group, and you've got to be able to tackle all these problems at the same time while still keeping the performance. But yeah, you've just got to keep going with it and not stop, and you've got to just work and work. But yeah, I think that's one of the main things I took away from this term. You've got to be both flexible and malleable. But yeah, so it was my evaluation. Thank you for watching. I will also be leaving in my WordPress below this video my notes for this video to help people anyone watching have a better sense of what I'm talking about, if that helps. But yeah, thank you for watching. Goodbye.